We owned a timeshare once. It was for skiing. Lovely. At least for the first 24 hours until I put my son Danny's boots on the wrong feet and sent him off to ski school. When we picked him up, he said, "My feet hurt." And Jill, my favorite wife, said, "What's the matter with you?" And that was the moment we realized we weren't really ski people. So we tried a warmer destination where I could work on my tan, but it was hard to change, expensive to maintain, and nearly impossible to get out of once we decided it wasn't a good idea anymore. So we tried to sell it. A few years later, we got back maybe 20% of what we paid, which honestly felt like a win compared to some of the horror stories I've heard ever since. It's so hard to get out of a timeshare. There's literally an entire industry built about helping people escape from them. If you've ever tried, you know exactly what I mean. This video is about that kind of stuff. The things we should probably stop owning or paying for once we hit 60. The stuff that quietly drains your wallet, your energy, and your joy. In some cases, they're assets. In other cases, mindset. We'll start with the big one, the timeshare, after I quickly introduce myself. Thanks for stopping by the Retirement Guy channel. I'm Daryl. I love helping people like you plan for retirement. I'm a fiduciary financial advisor, but rare in the sense that I only offer retirement plans for new clients. I don't want to sell you a financial product or manage your money. Imagine that. You can find out more about what I do to help people like you at theretirementguy.com. So let's get into it. Timeshares, the vacation you keep paying for. Look, here's the truth about timeshares. The only thing that gets locked in is the actual bill. Even if you never set foot on the property again, the fees keep coming. Maintenance, property taxes, special assessments, whatever new charge they dream up each and every year. And they always go up, always. For most owners, it's thousands of dollars every year for a vacation they may or may not even take. Miss a payment, they'll fine you faster than my sons fine me on their birthdays. And that's before you factor in flights, resort fees, or trying to swap your perfect getaway week for one that isn't during hurricane season or in a city you've already been to 4 times. I see this all the time with retirees. They bought in years ago thinking this guarantees us a lifetime of affordable travel, but what it really guarantees is a lot of paperwork, a lot of fine print, and a lot of frustration. You can't just cancel a timeshare like Netflix. You have to sell it. And sometimes you even have to pay someone to take it off your hands. The real kicker, most people don't use their timeshares nearly enough. And as we age, travel gets harder, priorities shift, and that dream vacation starts feeling more like another bill you resent. It stops feeling like a luxury. If you're over 60, the best vacation you might ever take is the one where you finally let that timeshare go. Number 2 is big expensive toys. If timeshares are the vacation you keep paying for, big toys are the ones that pay you back in regret. I'm talking about boats, RVs, motorcycles, classic cars, all the fun stuff that sounded amazing in your 50s, but somehow stopped being fun when you hit 60 and realize how much work they are. Boats, for example, are like swimming pools, better when someone else owns them. And there's a reason boaters joke that BOAT stands for break out another 1,000, because that's exactly what happens every single time. That's how my friend described it. Numerous friends, by the way. Me? I took a boat out once. Away from the dock, I was okay. I could drive the thing. Smooth as silk. Docking the boat, not so good. And that ended any thoughts of becoming a boater. With boats, something breaks or something leaks or something needs a new coat of something expensive that you can't pronounce. And some people buy RVs. They love the idea, the open road, the freedom, until they realize open road literally means 8 miles per gallon or $150 in a campground hookup fee, and constantly Googling how to empty the gray tank. That's not freedom. It's more like plumbing. One of my clients, he bought a 35-foot RV when he retired. He dreamed about it for years and said it was his ticket to freedom. 2 years later, he told me, "Daryl, I've spent more time cleaning bugs off the windshield than actually driving it." Here's the thing. It's not that these are bad ideas. They're not bad ideas. It's just that too often we spend too much and buy them too late and don't use them enough. If you're using it often and loving it, fantastic, keep it going. But if it's sitting in storage, draining your bank account and collecting dust instead of memories, it might be time to admit that the fun has faded. That at 60, the goal isn't more stuff, it's more life. And sometimes that means letting go of the toys that used to symbolize freedom and replacing them with the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it, without needing a storage unit for it. Number 3 is rental properties. Here's something I see all the time with my clients and other people that I know. People hang on to rental properties in retirement because they like that passive income, Though truth be told, there's nothing passive about it. Tenants call at midnight when the furnace quits. The city sends a letter about the cracked sidewalk, and just when you think you're ahead, the water heater taps out. Look, real estate can absolutely build wealth, for sure, but owning it and managing it are two very different things. At 40, the hassle feels like maybe part of the game. But at 60 or 70, it feels like the job you thought you retired from. Meanwhile, costs climb, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, a roof, a new furnace, insurance premiums rising faster than your blood pressure read. For many retirees, that one solid income turns into a slow leak financially, emotionally, and physically. So what's the move? Well, you don't have to sell the property or all of the properties, just simplify. Sell one property, hire a manager, though that changes the economics. In retirement, your most valuable asset isn't property, it's your time. And if your passive income feels, well, active, you're not a landlord anymore, you're the superintendent. The fourth category is insurance policies you don't need anymore. Now, I see this all the time as well. Retirees are still paying for insurance policies that made sense decades ago but haven't been useful in years. So an old life policy bought when the kids were little, or maybe long-term disability, or a supplemental policy you can't remember buying but you're scared to cancel it just in case. The reality is insurance is protection. It should serve a purpose, not just take up space in your budget. When you were raising kids and paying off the mortgage, those policies made sense. But now the house is paid off, the kids are independent, and you've got savings. The risk you were insuring against is probably gone. So I had a client, we'll call him Tom. He was paying $600 a month for a whole life policy he no longer needed. When we ran the numbers, he cashed it out, used the cash value to buy long-term care insurance, and freed up $7,200 a year in premiums. If a policy no longer protects your income or your dependents or essential assets, it's probably time to reassess. Some policies are definitely okay in retirement, but should fit your priorities at that stage in life. Number 5 is the big house that no longer fits your life. Okay, I get it. You raise your family there. Your kids learn to ride their bikes in the driveway. The walls still echo with laughter from all of the birthday parties. But now the bedrooms are mostly empty. The lawn feels bigger every summer. And somehow your property taxes seem to be going up each and every year. Your house may hold priceless memories, but it also holds a lot of your time, your money, and your energy. I know this one personally. Jill and I downsized after decades in our family home. At first, it felt strange leaving behind a piece of our identity. And the community, quite frankly, begged us to stay. But what we gained was so much better. Less clutter, more time for the things that actually matter, and a ton of financial flexibility. Downsizing doesn't mean downgrading. It just means that your home no longer serves you, not the other way around. If your weekends are full of yard work and repairs and rooms you haven't set foot in 10 years, it might be time to pass the torch and the lawnmower. Because the truth is, less house can mean more free time for other things. Number 6 is the stock you can't sell because it'll come back. It's that one investment you just can't part with, the stock you've held forever, convinced it'll bounce back any day now. Of course, it's down 40%, but you tell yourself it's just a paper loss. And you've been saying that since 2012. We get emotionally attached to investments, especially the ones we picked ourselves. Selling feels like admitting we were wrong, but hanging on to something just because we're nostalgic for its glory, that's how portfolios age faster than we do. I had a client once who refused to sell his old tech stock because it was the first one he ever bought. But when we looked at the performance, that loyalty was costing him thousands of dollars per year. I said, you wouldn't keep a bad employee just because they were great in 1999, would you? Well, your portfolio shouldn't either. If an investment no longer fits your goals, your risk tolerance, or your life stage, it's okay to let it go. It's okay to move on. Number 7 is the pile of someday stuff. You know, the stuff in our closets, our garages, basements, attics. We all have that pile. Boxes labeled miscellaneous, drawers full of cords of devices we haven't used in 10 or 20 years, and old sweaters that will absolutely fit again someday. We hold on to stuff because it reminds us of people and places and things that we've loved. But there comes a point when that stuff stops preserving memories and it starts cluttering your life while you're still living. There's a Swedish phrase for this, das ding or whatever, death cleaning. Morbid name, good concept. It simply means getting rid of things so your loved ones don't have to later. I saw this firsthand when I helped clean out my mother-in-law's house. She lived a beautiful life, not long enough, but a beautiful life, and she had a lot of stuff. And while it was emotional, it also taught me something. It was a very valuable lesson. The most meaningful things we leave behind aren't things at all. They're stories, values, and the way we made people feel. So start small, one drawer, one closet, one memory box at a time. You're not erasing history. You're creating breathing room for your future. And trust me, your kids will thank you. And last but not least, number 8, the guilt about spending your own money. If there is one thing that holds retirees back more than inflation or taxes, it's guilt. Not technically an asset, but certainly an emotion to shed at 60. Guilt. Guilt for spending the money they worked so hard to earn. Guilt for traveling. Guilt for upgrading the kitchen. Guilt for buying a first class ticket because that's for other people. You've already done the hard part. You saved, you invested, you sacrificed, and you planned. Now it's time to actually live that plan in retirement. I say this to my clients all the time. You did not build your retirement so you could feel bad about enjoying it. The couples who thrive in retirement aren't the ones who hoard every dollar. They're the ones who spend intentionally on what gives them life and what gives them purpose. Because at some point, someday becomes right now. So let go of the guilt. You've earned the right to enjoy the wealth you worked so hard for. So these are the 8 things I think most people should consider letting go of after age 60. Not because they're bad, but because they stop adding value over time. Each one, the timeshare, the toys, the old policies, the clutter, even the guilt, represents a shift from accumulation to enjoyment, from managing stuff to living life. Because financial freedom isn't about having more. It's about needing less and appreciating what's already enough. Enough can be enough. And if you're not sure whether your plan's helping you live that way, that's exactly what my Securement Retirement Review is designed to do. It's a flat fee, fiduciary, independent second opinion that pressure tests your entire retirement plan, income, taxes, investments, and risk. And I'm not trying to sell you a thing. You walk away with clarity, control, and confidence that your plan will hold up when it matters the most, because peace of mind doesn't come from hoping you've got it right. It comes from knowing that you have. You can learn more at theretirementguide.com. And as always, thanks for watching.